Welcome back to Tale of Wonder. The day Jax the Mauler Riley decided to humiliate the little old man sweeping leaves was the day his entire multi-million-dollar, hype-fueled career began to unravel. He just didn't know it yet. Jax the Mauler Riley was not a boxer. Oh, technically, he was. He was, in fact, the #1 contender for the heavyweight title. He had a 28-0 record with 27 knockouts. But Jax wasn't just a boxer. He was a brand, a hurricane of hype, a walking, talking, screaming social media feed that punched people for a living. His entire life was a performance. His Riley Riot brand of energy drinks. His entourage, a collection of vloggers and hangers-on he paid to orbit him. His body was a billboard of bad tattoos, and his mouth was a weapon he used far more skillfully than his fists. He was loud, he was obnoxious, and he was spectacularly rich. And he was, at this very moment, bored out of his mind. His manager, Sal, had booked him at a place called the Serene Path Wellness Retreat for 2 weeks leading up to his title fight. It was a PR move. The opponent, Hector the Saint Ramirez, was a deeply religious, humble family man. The press was starting to paint Jax as the villain. So Sal wanted Zen content. Jax meditating. Jax finding his center. The problem was, the Serene Path Retreat was, well, serene. There were no mirrors. There was no gym with pounding bass. There was no scene. There was just quiet. And trees. And most annoyingly of all, him. The old man. Everywhere Jax went, the old man was there. He was small, ancient, and bald, with a face like a dried apple. He wore a simple, ridiculously plain gray tunic and loose-fitting trousers. He was the Institute's groundskeeper, or janitor, or something. Mornings, Jax would see him by the koi pond, not feeding the fish, but just watching them. Afternoons, he'd be sweeping leaves from the stone paths. Not with a leaf blower, God forbid, but with a rustic-looking broom made of twigs. Swish, swish, swish. The sound was starting to drive Jax insane. He didn't speak. He didn't look up. He just existed, a small, gray, silent rebuke to Jax's entire Technicolor world. Jax had tried to engage him, of course. Hey, Pops? What's shaking? No, literally, are you shaking? You look 1,000 years old. The old man had just paused, looked at Jax with eyes that were unsettlingly clear, and then went back to sweeping. To Jax, a person who didn't react to him was a broken prop, and to Jax, the entire world was made of props. Kev, Jax barked to his personal vlogger, a jittery young man named Kev, who perpetually held a camera. This place is dead. We're gonna make some content. And I think I found our co-star. He grinned and pointed his chin right at the little old man, who was meticulously, almost painfully, raking a sand garden. This, Jax announced to Kev's camera, is gonna be gold. The campaign of humiliation started that afternoon. Jax, stripped to the waist, his muscles gleaming with sponsored body oil, swaggered into the Zen garden. Kev was in tow, filming everything. Hey, Gramps, you, the old man, who Jax had learned was called Brother Jun by the other staff, slowly turned from his raking. I need a training partner, Pops, Jax boomed, tossing a pair of heavy focus mitts at the man's chest. To Jax's surprise, the old man caught them. He didn't fumble. He just accepted them, his hands disappearing into the worn leather. He looked at the mitts, then at Jax, his expression perfectly neutral. Attaboy. Jax laughed, getting into his stance. Now, just hold him up. Don't let him droop, old-timer. Try to imagine you have, muscles. Brother Jun lifted the mitts. His stance was odd. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, back perfectly straight. He looked like a garden gnome. All right, Kev, you getting this? Jax yelled. We're gonna teach the master here how to be one with the fist. Jax started slow. A light tap, tap, tap. Jun just stood there, the mitts absorbing the blows. He didn't grunt. He didn't brace. Hold him steady. Jax commanded, putting more force into it. Thwack, thwack. Jax was a heavyweight. His punches landed like controlled explosions. But the old man, he wasn't moving. He wasn't being pushed back. It was like punching a sequoia. This was annoying. You're holding him wrong. Jax snarled, his ego starting to prickle. He was showing off for the camera, but the old man was making him look inefficient. Hold them. Still. Jax wound up, telegraphing a massive right hook, a Mauler special. He wanted to see the old man fly. He wanted the camera to capture him knocking the Zen right out of this ridiculous place. He threw the punch. Crack. But it wasn't the sound he expected. At the very last millisecond, as Jax's full force, all 240 pounds of rotational power, was about to connect, Brother Jun didn't brace. He yielded. He didn't move the mitt back. He rotated it just slightly. A tiny, almost imperceptible turn of his wrist and elbow, moving with the punch. Jax's punch, designed to smash a stationary object, met a deflecting, rotating surface. His wrist, instead of landing flat, rolled violently. A sickening pop echoed in the silent garden. Arg! Jax screamed, a genuine, high-pitched yelp. He stumbled back, clutching his right hand. Son of A! He looked at his wrist. It was already swelling. Brother Jun lowered the mitts, his face unchanged. He looked at Jax's wrist, then back at Jax's eyes. Kev, to his credit, was still filming, but his face was pale. Dude, did he just break your hand? He didn't do anything. Jax spat, his face purple with a cocktail of pain and fury. He held it wrong. On purpose. You sabo. Jax cut himself off. He was on camera. I'm fine. He roared. It's fine. Just twisted it. Cut the camera, Kev. The video, of course, went up anyway, heavily edited by Kev to make it look like a freak training accident. But the raw footage leaked. The title on the gossip sites was Jax The Mauler Riley almost knocked out by 100-year-old gardener. The comments were merciless. That old man has a chin of steel. Did you see that? He didn't even budge. Jax looks weak. Jax spent that night with his hand submerged in an ice bucket, his teeth grinding so hard his jaw ached. His wrist was badly sprained, not broken, but the damage was done. His pride was fractured in a dozen places. He wasn't just going to get even. He was going to destroy this old man. Jax, his right hand wrapped in a thick tensor bandage, found Brother Jun in the west garden. Jun was attempting to move a massive ornamental boulder. It had to be 400 pounds onto a small pedestal. He was using a long wooden pole and a small rock as a fulcrum. Kev, film this, Jax growled. He stormed over. Still playing with your pet rocks, Grandpa? Jun ignored him, focusing on adjusting the fulcrum. You're doing it wrong, Jax snapped. All that Zen rots your brain. You need power. You need strength. Jax shoved the old man aside. Let a real man show you how it's done. He crouched, grabbed the bottom of the awkward, smooth-sided boulder. He was going to deadlift it. This would be the ultimate viral clip. Jax, the modern Hercules, lifting what the ancient fraud could not. He pulled. The rock didn't move. It was terribly balanced, and the smooth, mossy surface gave no purchase. Jax grunted, his face turning a dark crimson. He reset his grip, wrapping his arms around it in a strongman-style hug. He pulled again. He strained, veins popping in his neck, his back bowing dangerously. The rock tilted, and then settled back, heavier than ever. Brother Jun stepped forward, silent, and pointed. He pointed to a small indentation on the rock, and then to a different spot on the ground, a few inches to the left of where Jax had been. "I don't need your help," Jax yelled, utterly humiliated. He gave one final desperate heave. He was the Mauler. He was pure power. He would lift this rock. A sharp, tearing sensation shot up his lower back. It felt like a hot poker. "Gah!" Jax cried out, releasing the rock and stumbling backward, clutching his spine. Kev winced, lowering the camera. "Jax, maybe you should." Before Kev could finish, Brother Jun stepped in. He repositioned the small rock fulcrum to the exact spot he had pointed at. He slid the pole into the exact indentation. He didn't try to lift. He put one hand on the end of the pole and leaned. He used his entire small body as a single unified weight. With a smooth, grinding skeet, the 400-pound boulder tilted, pivoted, and then settled with a soft thud, perfectly centered on its pedestal. It had taken him maybe 3 seconds. Jun brushed the dust from his hands and looked at Jax, who was now leaning against a tree, breathing heavily, his face a mask of agony. Kev had, unfortunately, filmed the entire thing. The video went up with the caption, "The Mauler versus The Rock. The Rock wins." This time, the internet exploded. Jax's opponent, Hector the Saint Ramirez, even reposted the clip. His only comment, "My opponent seems to be fighting the laws of physics. Glad to see he has a good teacher." #leverage#focus. Jax's manager Sal called, screaming, "What are you doing? You look like a fool. The sponsors are asking about your back. The commission is calling me. You're supposed to be meditating, not losing a fight to a piece of landscaping." Jax smashed his phone. He was a global laughingstock. His brand was clown. His authority was gone. His back was a column of fire, and his wrist throbbed. And it was all his fault, the old man's. Jax, fueled by painkillers and pure, uncut rage, went looking for him. He found him by the koi pond, the same pond from the first morning. Jun was standing on one foot on a small, mossy rock at the pond's edge, his hands held loosely at his center, eyes closed. He was practicing something. Some slow, stupid, floating movement. Jax didn't bother with Kev. He pulled out his own phone, hit go live on his Instagram. "All right, folks," he slared into the camera, his face pale and sweaty. "You all think this fraud is some kind of master. You think he's so tough. I'm gonna show you the truth." He flipped the camera, stalking toward Jun. "Hey, monk," Jax yelled. Jun opened his eyes. He slowly lowered his foot to the ground, standing balanced at the very edge of the water. "That's it," Jax screamed, his voice cracking. "No more tricks. No more rocks. No more fancy mittwork. You and me. You and me. You think you're so tough with your little bathrobe karate? Show me. Hit me. Do something. Or I'll hit you." Brother Jun just stood there. His face was, for the first time, tinged with, was it sadness? "What, you scared?" Jax taunted, getting right in his face. "You're just a fake, aren't you? A fraud in a stupid costume, sweeping leaves. You're nothing." Jax drew back his good hand, his left. "I'm gonna end this." He didn't swing. He shoved. He put all his weight, all his rage, all his humiliation into a massive two-handed push aimed at the old man's chest. He was going to send him straight into that slimy pond. And at that moment, Brother Jun did the most devastatingly brilliant thing he could possibly have done. He did absolutely nothing. He didn't brace. He didn't resist. He didn't even stand his ground. As Jax's hands made contact, Jun accepted the push. He allowed his body to be moved. He simply stepped back. But Jax wasn't pushing a man. He was pushing his idea of the man. He was pushing against the 400-pound rock. He was pushing against the immovable myths. He was expecting massive, immovable resistance. And he got air. His full, overcommitted, unbalanced momentum, meaning zero resistance, had nowhere to go but forward. Jax's own body became a runaway train. His feet, tangled in his own desperate lunge, tripped over one another. His arms, having pushed through their target, flailed wildly in the air for balance. Time seemed to slow down. Jax saw the green, algae-covered surface of the pond rushing up to meet him. He saw his own horrified reflection. He saw a large orange koi fish look at him with what he could only assume was profound disappointment. Splash! He landed, headfirst, in 3 feet of freezing, muddy, fish-scented water. The thud of his body hitting the water was followed by a profound, echoing silence. Jax's live stream captured it all. The phone, still in his hand, was now submerged, filming a blurry green world. Then it filmed Jax's face as he emerged, sputtering, a lily pad stuck to his head. He looked up. Brother Jun was standing at the edge of the pond, perfectly dry, hands clasped. He hadn't pushed. He hadn't tripped. He hadn't touched him. He had simply allowed Jax to defeat himself. The live stream, before the phone died, captured that one perfect, devastating image. The Mauler, soaked and beaten in a koi pond. The monk, dry and serene, watching him. The clip wasn't just viral. It was legendary. It was the butt fumble of boxing. Jax The Mauler Riley KO'd by a koi pond. His career was over. Jax sat in the darkness of his luxury Zen cabin, shivering. He was wrapped in a $500 bathrobe, but he'd never felt so cold. The door banged open. It was Sal, his manager. She wasn't screaming. Her face was dead white, which was infinitely scarier. "Pack your bags, Jax," she said, her voice a flat, dead monotone. "Sal, I can explain," he stammered. He tripped me. He used some kind of judo." "Shut up, Jax," Sal said. She sounded so tired. "Just for the love of God, shut up. It's over." "What do you mean? It's over? It's a joke." "A meme. I'll lean into it. We'll make Mauler's Koi Pond t-shirts. The fight is canceled," she said. Jax's world stopped. "What? No. They can't. Because of a pond? The Nevada State Athletic Commission just pulled your license, pending a full psychological evaluation for unstable and erratic conduct. The promoters are invoking the moral turpitude clause in your contract and are suing you for $50 million in lost revenue. Your energy drink sponsor just dropped you. Your car collection? It's being seized tomorrow to cover the penalties. Hector Ramirez will be fighting the #1 contender from the UK. You, Jax, you are done." Jax couldn't breathe. This wasn't happening. Because of him. Because of that janitor. That stupid silent old. "That's the part, Jax," Sal whispered, her eyes filling with a kind of cold fury. "That's the part you just don't get. You absolute, thick-skulled, catastrophic moron." She threw her tablet onto the bed. On the screen was the website for the Serene Path Retreat. "Read it," she commanded. Jax scrolled. He saw the mission statement. He saw the pictures of the gorgeous minimalist facilities. He saw the testimonials. From basketball legends. From F1 world champions. From Olympic gymnasts. "Dr. Wei gave me my career back. His methods are revolutionary. He didn't just heal my body. He healed my focus." Jax's finger went numb. He clicked on the Our Team page, and there he was. Not Brother Jun. Dr. Junlong Wei, Ph.D. Kinesiology, Stanford. M.D. Traditional Chinese Medicine, Beijing University. Founder and head of the Serene Path Institute for Neuromuscular Science. The man wasn't a gardener. He was a god. He was the single most respected and sought-after sports rehabilitation specialist on Earth. He was the man who rebuilt athletes from the molecules up. He sweeps the leaves," Jax whispered, horrified. It's part of his practice, you imbecile. Sal finally roared. He calls it dynamic grounding. He believes you can't heal a body until you understand its relationship with the ground. He's not a monk, Jax. He's a neuroscientist who gets paid $500,000 a week by royal families and NFL teams. Every moment of the last 3 days flashed in Jax's mind, now recontextualized with horrifying clarity. The focus mitts. John wasn't bracing. He was diagnosing. He wasn't holding it wrong. He was feeling the imbalance in Jax's wrist, the overcompensation in his shoulder, the flawed transfer of power from his back foot. He was letting Jax show him the sprain before it even happened. The Rock. He wasn't showing off. He was giving a free, private lesson in biomechanics, leverage, and force multiplication. A lesson Jax, in his arrogance, had spat on. A lesson that had cost him his back. The pond. He hadn't pushed. He hadn't tripped. He had simply assessed Jax's own unstable, top-heavy, uncontrolled momentum and let physics do the rest. Oh my God, Jax breathed, the full weight of his stupidity crushing him. He was toying with me. No, Jax, Sal said, her voice now dangerously quiet. He wasn't toying with you. He was ignoring you. You were a gnat. You were a loud, obnoxious child throwing a tantrum in his laboratory. He just let you burn yourself out. She took a deep breath. And you know what? It gets worse. She swiped the screen on the tablet. A new article appeared. A sports medicine journal from 9 months ago. The headline, The Miracle Recovery. Hector the Saint Ramirez's career-ending injury. Jax read. It detailed how Hector had suffered a catastrophic, full-thickness tear of his rotator cuff in a sparring session. His career was declared over. He'd disappeared from the public eye. Where do you think he went, Jax? Sal asked, her voice hollow. Where do you think he's been for the last 9 months? Jax's fingers scrolled down the article to a photo. A photo of Hector Ramirez, looking stronger and healthier than ever, smiling. Standing right next to him, his hand on Hector's repaired shoulder, was Dr. Junlong Wei. The caption, With my teacher and my friend, Dr. Wei, he has taught me that true strength is not in the muscle. It is in the connection. The blood drained from Jax's face. He's been here, Jax stammered. Hector, knows him. Knows him? Jax, Dr. Wei didn't just heal Hector. He rebuilt him. He re-engineered his entire fighting style. Fixed his stance, perfected his balance. Taught him God. Sal looked at the ceiling. He'd probably taught him the very things you were mocking. The full, apocalyptic reality landed on Jax. He hadn't just mocked a gardener. He had walked into the headquarters of his opponent's master strategist, and for 3 solid days, on camera, he had given Dr. Junlong Wei a free, comprehensive, and spectacularly public demonstration of every single one of his weaknesses. His unstable back, his fragile right wrist, his predictable, uncontrolled temper, his top-heavy, rooted in power not balanced stance, his complete and total lack of emotional control. Dr. Wei hadn't just let Jax implode. He had taken notes. The fall was not a fall. It was an evaporation. Jax Riley ceased to exist. The Mauler was a meme, a punchline. The Mauler was a meme, a punchline. The Riley riot was a clearance item. He was sued into oblivion. His condos, his cars, his entourage all gone. He spent 6 months in a dark, cheap apartment in a part of Vegas the tourists never see. He drank. He raged. He watched the fight. Hector the Saint Ramirez, the man rebuilt by Dr. Wei, dismantled the new UK contender. He was, as the announcers kept saying, a different fighter. He was unhittable. He was perfectly balanced. He moved with a fluidity, an efficiency that was sickeningly familiar. When Hector won the belt, he thanked his team, and then he thanked my teacher, Dr. Wei, who taught me that the hardest opponent is always yourself. Jax threw his bottle through the television. And then he broke. The rage, the arrogance, the hype. It all just cracked and drained away, leaving nothing but a hollow, aching void. He was 30 years old. He was broke. His body was a wreck. His back ached every morning. His wrist clicked when he rotated it. He was nothing. He had one thing left. A single, gaudy, diamond-encrusted watch Sal had missed. He sold it at a pawn shop for a fraction of its worth. He bought a one-way bus ticket. He arrived at the Serene Path Institute 2 days later, not as a client, but as a beggar. He was thin, unshaven, and wearing stained sweatpants. He looked like a ghost. He found Dr. Wei in the same Zen garden, raking the same sand. Jax just stood there. For 10 minutes. The only sound was the rake on the gravel. June never looked up. He just continued his pattern. Finally, Jax's shoulders, the ones that used to be so broad and impressive, just slumped. The last ounce of the molar left his body. He stepped into the garden, ruining the perfect lines. "Dr. Wei," he said. His voice was a hoarse croak. Jun stopped raking. He turned slowly and looked at Jax. His eyes were not angry. They were not mocking. They were not even pitying. They were just clear, like the pond on a still day. Jax's throat closed. I was wrong. I was an idiot. A loud, stupid child. He took a ragged breath, shame burning his face. "I'm broken. My wrist, my back, my head. It's all broken. And I have nothing. No money." He looked at the ground, at the mess he'd made of the sand. "But I'll work," he whispered. I'll sweep. I'll clean the toilets. I'll carry the rocks. I'll do anything, please." He finally looked up, his eyes swimming. "Please, can you fix me?" Dr. Junlong Wei looked at Jax. He looked at the rake in his own hand. He looked back at Jax. After a long, silent moment, he held the rake out, handle first. "The pattern," Dr. Wei said, his first real words to Jax. "It is meant to be a wave. You have made it a storm. Start again." Jax took the rake. The simple wooden handle felt heavier than any championship belt. "Yes, teacher," Jax whispered. And so the resolution began. It was not a training montage. It was a deconstruction. Jax's new life began at 4 a.m. He swept the paths. He scrubbed the floors in the clinic. He weeded the gardens. He washed the dishes in the kitchen. He was invisible. For the first month, it was pure, unadulterated hell. His body screamed. His back throbbed. His wrist ached. But his ego was dying the slowest, most painful death imaginable. He wanted to scream. He wanted to hit something. He wanted to quit. But where would he go? Dr. Wei was always present. He never taught Jax. He just appeared. One day, Jax was trying to carry 2 heavy buckets of water from the well, straining, his back bowed, his steps clumsy. Jun appeared, silent as a shadow. He didn't speak. He just tapped Jax. A light tap on his abdomen, a tap on his chin, a tap on his hip. Jax, confused and frustrated, tried to adjust. He pulled his chin back. He tightened his core. He squared his hips. Suddenly, the buckets felt lighter. The strain in his back eased. Jun watched him take 2 balanced steps. He nodded once and walked away. The lessons were like that. Jun made him stand on 1 foot on a rock by the koi pond for an hour. "Your mind wanders," Jun said. "Your foot follows. Root your mind." He made him practice just breathing for weeks. "You breathe like a brawler, all chest. You have no power. Breathe from your center." He had Jax pour tea. Jax, the man who used to pop champagne bottles with a saber, couldn't pour a single cup without his hand shaking. "Your strength is a flood," Jun said, watching the tea splash. It is uncontrolled, destructive, useless. You must be a river, controlled, deep, and quiet. Months passed. Spring turned to summer, then to a crisp autumn. The old Jax was gone. The bulky synthetic show muscles had been burned away, replaced by a lean, dense, functional strength. He was quiet, he was calm, he was balanced. One morning, a full year after his arrival, Jax was sweeping the leaves from the stone path. The swish, swish, swish no longer annoyed him. It was a rhythm. It was a comfort. He was sweeping by the koi pond, his old nemesis. He looked at his reflection. He saw a stranger. Dr. Wei approached. "Reuben," he said. He had never called him Jax. Jax stopped, bowed his head. "Teacher." "Your wrist," John said. He reached out and gently rotated Jax's hand. The clicking was gone. "It is aligned." He lightly tapped Jax's lower back. "Your spine." "It is rooted." He tapped his own temple. "Your mind." "It is almost quiet." June smiled. A tiny, barely there smile. "It is time." A week later, Jax Reuben was standing in a different part of the institute, a hidden courtyard. He was holding focus mitts. He was balanced. He was calm. He was ready. Dr. Jun Wei stood before him, the small, old man. "Hold them steady, Reuben," Jun said, a glint of humor in his eye. "But this time, be a mountain, not a leaf." Jax braced, sinking his weight, rooting himself to the ground, just as he had been taught. Jun settled into a stance. And then he moved. It was not a punch. It was an uncoiling. It started at his foot, flowed through his hip, snapped through his waist, and exploded from his fist. Thwack boom. The sound was not a slap. It was a detonation. The force didn't just hit the mitt. It penetrated it. The shockwave traveled up Jax's arm, blew through his braced shoulder, and lifted his entire 220-pound body 3 inches off the solid ground. Jax landed, his arm completely numb, his eyes wide as dinner plates. He stared at Jun in pure, unadulterated shock. He had held mitts for the hardest-hitting heavyweights on the planet. He had been one of them. He had never felt power like that. Jun was already back in his relaxed stance, hands clasped as if he just brushed off some dust. "But how?" Jax gasped, shaking the feeling back into his arm. "You're your power. I don't understand." Dr. Wei looked at him, his face unreadable. "It is simple physics, Reuben. Complete alignment, total body connection. No wasted energy. That is all." That's all?" Jax stammered. That was the most powerful thing I've ever felt." Dr. Wei was silent for a moment. Then he let out a small, dry chuckle. "Oh, that," he said, waving a dismissive hand. "That was just a love tap, as the Americans say." He turned and pointed across the courtyard. An old, gray-haired woman, even smaller than Jun, was meticulously trimming a bonsai tree. She looked up, smiled, and gave a tiny wave. Jax just stared. "You should see my wife hit," Dr. Wei said, his voice laced with an irony so dry it could start a fire. "She's the one who taught Hector Ramirez how to really punch. She's his specialist. I just handle the shoulders and the philosophy." Dr. Wei smiled, turned, and clapped Jax on his good shoulder. "Now," he said, "let's begin your lesson. You have a lot to learn about power." Jax just stood there, his mind completely rebooted, holding 2 smoking mitts as the tiny old woman went back to her tree. We all saw Jax's arrogance, but do you think Dr. Wei's lesson was true humility? Or was it a form of humiliation, just as cold as Jax's? Let me know what you think down below. Thank you for joining us for this tale of wonder. If you enjoyed Jax's story and that final twist, do us a huge favor and hit that like button It really helps the channel. And of course, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a new tale. We've got some wild ones coming up that you won't want to miss. Until next time, take care of yourselves and watch out for the quiet ones. See you in the next video.